Afternoon comes after growing scrutiny over the screening process of foreign military students.
Anybody that comes to the United States to train is, or should be, is vetted by the Department of State, the Department of Homeland Security, and then ultimately us. So we need to relook all that.
According to the Pentagon, nearly 5,200 foreign students from more than 150 countries are in the U.S. for military training. Part of that group includes 852 Saudis.
It's a powerful training tool, sort of the mechanical level, for teaching people how to fly aircraft, teaching people how to lead patrols, but it goes all the way to our most senior educational institutes.
Some military leaders stressing the importance of the program.
My biggest concern would be that we would walk away from those key relationships from folks that we know we need when we go into combat.
It's an enormously important U.S. military program, an outreach to allies. And so the program, this is one of the vital ways in which we stay engaged with Saudi Arabia.
Kathy, what are officials saying tonight about the U.S. relationship with Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, so the defense secretary said that we have a longstanding relationship with Saudi Arabia. We are there in the region to support them. He also added that we share mutual security interests, especially when it comes to Iran.
Kathy Park, thank you very much. We turn to politics now. The House Judiciary Committee on Saturday released a report explaining the constitutional grounds for the impeachment of President Trump. Hans Nichols is at the White House and has this report.
President Trump today not commenting on a new report by the House Judiciary Committee that calls impeachment the Constitution's final answer to a president who mistakes himself for a monarch. The report criticizes the president for not cooperating with the impeachment inquiry and asserts that no president is entitled to persist in office after committing high crimes and misdemeanors. And no one who voted for him in the last election is entitled to expect he will do so. The Judiciary Report, the latest step in a process that may lead to a House vote on articles of impeachment as early as this week. But the president claiming that he is gaining support in the states he'll need to win in 2020.
They don't want to see impeachment, especially in the swing states. They've swung our way. I've never seen a swing like this because people realize it's a total hoax.
And a new revelation today. President Trump says he's awaiting a readout from Rudy Giuliani about his trip to Ukraine.
He says he has a lot of good information.
Suggesting that the former mayor in the country at the center of the impeachment scandal for a conservative documentary may share his findings on Capitol Hill.
I think he wants to go before Congress and say, and also to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice, I hear he's found plenty.
Giuliani's documentary promises to investigate Ukraine's role in the 2016 U.S. presidential election, a theory already debunked. Giuliani telling NBC News that he will reveal his strategy when he's ready, adding, if this doesn't shake up the swamp, I might then agree with those who say it's hopeless.
And Hans, the White House has said that the president would be more willing to participate in a Senate.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
A lot of skilled people who can make things very...
Urinating, vision changes, or I may occur.
Trump's official U.S. policies since he took office as being very pro-Israel and good for their cause, the gift that keeps on giving, if you will. He'll arrive here in about an hour, but he is not too far away right now in Aventura, Florida, making remarks at the Florida Republican Party Statesman Dinner that is closed to the press. Now, things that Israel and the Jewish Americans have applauded have been when President Trump moved the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem just to start. He did that early in his presidency. Trump's also been a forceful ally of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And last month, hardliners again applauded the president when Secretary of State Pompeo indicated that the U.S. would ease its stance on Israeli settlements, reversing a long-held U.S. view that the settlements in the West Bank were inconsistent with international law. That led to a Palestinian day of rage in multiple West Bank cities as Palestinians feel any Israeli settlement is a power grab in what they view as their territory. And one more thing that Israeli hardliners are hopeful for from this White House would be supporting an Israeli idea to annex the Jordan Valley. It makes up 30% of the West Bank, and if Israel did annex the occupied land, it would further crush Palestinian hopes for an independent state. So President Trump will be the first U.S. president to speak at this conference, so organizers here are extremely delighted. Back to you.
Phil Keating. Phil, thank you.
Unrest erupts in France as yellow vest demonstrators return in full force, and much of the country's mass transit system grinds to a halt. Why now? That's next.
1-800-CONTACT, we're here.
Is hearing oral arguments in a case that, if they choose to rule, could.
Exclusive data bank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed.
And have the best of both worlds, all with one appliance. The single-serve brewer uses our home barista.
Frequent heartburn. Stephen could only imagine enjoying a spicy taco. Now his world explodes with flavor.
He repealed that measure and now argues that the case is moot, a move Justice Neil Gorsuch called a Herculean late-breaking effort to avoid constitutional review. We're back with Dan Henninger, Kim Strassel, and Wall Street Journal editorial board.
Being here. When we come back, my interview with the mother of the UPS driver gunned down this week, who she blames for his death. And the problem with paper straws, so many Americans hate them. They take you where they're made. Will they ever get any better?
What's the difference between going to bed hungry and going to bed happy?
Track 3 on the album was called Babe, I Hate to Go.
The Weed Killer Roundup, a federal jury.
And Joe Burrow. And Burrow all by his lonesome now on 3rd and goal from the 10.
I got the tight end on wide.
I think it's a bad day for the country. I think this whole thing is a joke. Mueller, I trusted. I don't trust Schiff. I don't trust Nadler to find the truth. And the speaker said it should be bipartisan. It should be prayerful. It should be thoughtful. So what happened? Well, I don't have any desire to subpoena Adam Schiff's phone records. Now, I wouldn't want my phone records subpoenaed. Now, if some investigated body outside Senate oversight wants to do it, that's up to them. But when House members and senators start subpoenaing each other as part of oversight, the whole system breaks. If you exclude hearsay as a basis for impeachment, which every court in the land would, unless there's an exception, I will not allow trial in the Senate to go forward with my vote unless the whistleblower comes forward.
Lindsey Graham. Coming up, the other key figure in a potential Senate trial, Mitch McConnell.
Owners have a right to take their gun outside the home.
Kim, there was an extraordinary intervention in this case in an amicus brief by several Democratic senators led by Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island. Basically,
steaks fillets, Merry Christmas.
And if you don't, you run the risk, justices, of having the court itself being restructured.
Runner, driver, interpreter, I really started in the lowest position possible. And after a few years, I decided that
clear or almost clear.
Don't use if you're allergic to Illumia or any of its ingredients. Before starting
oh gosh.
Washington Monument at a peace concert, a protest concert, and that was just the way it went.
Last night I had the strangest dream.
Ever killed in a Miami car.
That's Joy? Oh, yeah.
And heart to us, sharing stories about her son and sharing anger as well about who the family believes is responsible for his death. These Christmas decorations set up just days ago by their son. What should be a joyful time in this family home, now marred by tears and tragedy. They killed my son, she says. Her son was 27-year-old Frank Ordonez, the UPS driver taken hostage during a police chase and killed in the crossfire with police and robbers in Miami Thursday. I spoke to Frank's mother, Luz Apolinario, yesterday. My son was a good boy, a family man. How could they have killed him? Why didn't they give him the opportunity? Questions and concerns of the police handling echoed by other members of the family. Frank's sister Jenny, taking to social media, sharing tribute videos of the father of two, along with tough criticism of the police. Today, I lost my brother because of the negligence and stupidity of the police. Instead of negotiating with a hostage situation, they just shot everyone.
Our job and our mission that day was to prevent further injuries, further casualties from occurring. And the worst case scenario happened. And now we have law enforcement personnel in our communities that are going to have to carry this weight with them for the rest of their lives.
It's all devastating for Frank's mother and her family, who faced their first Christmas without their son. He looked forward to Christmas. He said, "Mom, we're all going to be together this time. My life is gone with him." Frank will be laid to rest on Monday.
That's a bad deal, man. That's a bad deal. Somebody at the wrong place at the wrong time. Talk about collateral damage. Whoa.
Please stay with us. When we come back, a climate crisis. The big changes happening at this world-famous waterfall.
At Walgreens, we...
Now that will be interesting to watch. Let's see what we can do.
Save smartly on Med D. Walgreens, trusted since 1901.
Do you have concerns about...
You know, there's so much violence in the world now. And it's not just here in the United States. It's all over the planet. It's almost become impossible for certain individuals not to be at the wrong place at the wrong time towards experiencing this type of collateral damage. And it's really, really sad. Because it could have all been eliminated if certain individuals would have done the right thing 30 plus years ago. That's the part that emotionally gets to me again and again and again, is that I see where we are today in comparison to where we should be, in comparison to where we could have been. And it's mind-boggling to think that because of people being frightened of their positions, or not being sure of biblical Bible prophecy, or people just out of meanness, doubt, mischievousness, has chosen not to elaborate upon to biblical Bible prophecy. And because of it, not only has this ministry suffered, but by and large society all over the planet has suffered. The environment has suffered. Casualties of people being considered collateral damage have suffered. It goes beyond anything that I thought that I would ever experience growing up here in the Northwest Tennessee area. It goes beyond anything at the age of soon to be 59 that I thought that I would ever have to acknowledge towards it being reality. And it's some of the most saddest, unprofessionalist behavior that I've ever seen. Please, let's watch this. Let's see here. This looks like a special remembrance of Pearl Harbor. I put that out today to my viewers.
Anniversary of the Japanese attack on the Hawaii Navy.
Let's back up. Right
Our
there.
doctor about Trulicity.
Oh.
Who had the great...
Right there.
A solemn memorial at Pearl Harbor today. It is the 78th anniversary of the Japanese attack on the Hawaii Naval Base. Thousands attended the event, including a handful of survivors from that day in 1941.
Yes.
More than 2,000 Americans died and led to the U.S. entry into World War II. And now to the great straw debate. Paper versus plastic. If you've tried paper straws, you know some can feel, well...
We don't care nothing about that. Not whenever lives
are trying to cut down on the environmental impact of the non-degradable plastic versions. Back in 2018, Seattle became the first city to ban the use of plastic straws. Then came California and DC and Oregon. Now more than 36 bills pending in 22 states. Aardvark Straws in Fort Wayne, Indiana is America's biggest producer of paper straws.
We store them here and then we deliver them to the machines here.
They say paper straws aren't bad, but you have to use them differently. Is this even working?
Don't jam it, don't stir your ice around, don't bend it over the top because it won't go back to its original format.
So how do you wage the PR battle against paper straw haters out in the world?
Educate them that it's a slightly different experience, and you have to educate them that they're going to have a bad experience if they use a bad product.
The bad products, Aardvark says, are cheap foreign-made straws flooding the market, giving them a bad rap. And the bad taste left in consumers' mouths has led to accusations of government overreach as more bans come into effect. The president's re-election campaign even taking a side, now selling Trump-emblazoned plastic straws, claiming liberal paper straws don't work. Still, many consumers remain a bit confused.
I just wonder if it's less good for the environment to use 7 paper straws per drink versus 1 plastic straw.
Just doesn't make any sense to me.
For environmentalists, going paper is a positive step, however imperfect.
Paper will degrade in soil or in water, whereas plastic, it just breaks apart into smaller and smaller pieces.
Last year, Aardvark increased its production, moving to a facility triple the size to meet demand. And they're working to make their product even better.
We've spent 10 years getting the paper straw as strong as it is today and strongest in the world. We know that there's a next generation out there that has a stronger, even longer lasting experience, as well as one of the main complaints of consumers is they don't like the papery taste on their lips because they're used to plastic, which has no taste.
Aardvark's message to the haters: their straws don't suck. Molly Hunter, NBC News, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
There has been an alarming change for one of our world wonders, often called the largest waterfall on Earth. Victoria Falls in southern Africa typically looks like this. But now it looks a whole lot different. The water has dried up to barely a trickle because of the worst drought in decades.
Wow.
You know that controversial Peloton commercial that's been...
That is very, very bad. That is bad news pertaining to the drought. Wow. And people are still in doubt about environmental crisis. Sad, sad, sad.
It's one where a man gives this woman an exercise bike as a gift.
I think those are very fair to both sides and can set things up. Now, you mentioned the Chief Justice's role. It's kind of interesting. He steps...
Progress of the crops. As the sun got...
Tough sell for Labor and Corbyn.
Is, briefly, Joe.
Shirazi, Fox News.
Caroline Kennedy christening a new aircraft carrier named after her father, President John F. Kennedy. The ceremony taking place today in Virginia. The USS John Kennedy is the second in a new class of ships designed to carry more aircraft. The first was the USS Gerald Ford, commissioned last year. An extremely rare find inside a Salvation Army kettle, and a very special field trip for a Michigan kindergartner. Why his entire class went to court with him earlier this week.
Somebody who's going to try to shape the public narrative. It's something that he did during the Clinton impeachment back 20 years ago. It's something that he has been trying to do for President Trump since running against.
All right, folks, that's the end of that. I can't believe that there's so many foreign people over here in America that's training, that we're training to commit mass murder pertaining to training people in other parts of the country how to defend their people. Once more, these are all areas that I believe is going in the opposite direction towards peace and utopia. And because they're going in the wrong direction, we believe here at the Windmill Ministries missions that eventually there will be a calamity of a sort such as humanity has never seen before if we the people don't wake up in engaging in another tactic in these final moments. Thanks again. Good luck to all of us. Shalom.